Hello everybody, welcome to weekly market news video. Today is Monday, 31st of May, and we are beginning the new week as we are heading into the next month as well tomorrow, which might be for stocks and overall markets quite, I would not say challenging month, but we have some events that might very well speak to the future performance of different assets. We can talk about stocks, we can talk about the Forex and even commodities, as we have Fed FOMC meeting this month. Also, Jerome Powell is going to have a couple of speeches, so that will be interesting as well. With the inflation data for the month of May, everything is looking very interesting for this month. But as we are beginning this month, and also we ended last week which was very lazy in terms of movements on stocks and stock indices. You can see the S&P was going sideways for most of the month, as well as Nasdaq, which was able to cut some of the losses, some of the previous losses, and yeah, it's more or less. Very sentimental thing. We are still awaiting new, I would say, new stimulus, new catalyzers for the future movements, as we are more or less, like I said before, going sideways on a daily time frame. Even at the beginning of this week, we have banking holiday in US, so the stocks exchanges are closed, and we are only trading on spot with a very low volume, very low volatility, and also. There is a certain uncertainty and doubts over how the markets could perform in the next few months, as we had inflation data from PC index last week. They, which is the most interesting, by the way, most interesting fundamental event in the last week. Let's look at the PC index. Where we at? Should be right here on Friday. Yeah, the PC index right here rose to 3.6%. Core PC index, which is closely watched by Fed, and they are targeting this to 2%, a little bit above 2% as right now. And some faster inflation should not be a problem, especially in the moment that where we are right now, which is in the context looking not that bad for Fed, as the yields from U.S. Treasuries, from 10-year U.S. Treasuries are below 1.6%. So that's somewhat of a positive thing for the markets, for Fed. So he shouldn't be worried about the inflation that much. But like I said before, we are waiting for the new numbers for the month of May. Which will be released somewhere, I believe, next week, maybe, or the week after. And we can expect some big movements if the inflation is going to pick up, and it's going to pick up because we have some very low base from last year for a month of May. So those will be the most frightening data. But overall, the sentiment is looking good. The Fed really did not signal anything. There was some signalization from Bank of England, but also New Zealand Central Bank, which are two banks that are probably going to raise rates by the end of this year or at the beginning of the next year. But as right now, we do not really see any huge sentimental negative impulse for the market, as right now. There can be obviously volatility, intraday volatility. You can even see that we were not able to close positive session since Thursday. So it's not looking that great, but more or less we are hovering near record highs. I think more or less from bigger perspective, this is very positive. We are holding on this big capitalization, and if the QE is going to get some reduction, by the end of this year, it should not be that big of a problem. So let's closely watch the yields and how the other markets are going to react to that. Like I said before, banking holiday in United States at the beginning of this week on Monday, so very low volume, low volatility. Do not expect any big movements. Also, Euro USD, you can see that the US dollar was able to get some gains, but not a really huge one. And even Friday session ended with pin bar. So more or less, we are defending the higher prices, but as well as higher prices, we are also not going any further. And the dynamic of this uptrend is more or less kind of losing steam. So there might be very well a case by till the end of this month. So which is basically just today that we are going to see some sideways price action, not really big moves. Nothing really in terms of big moves is expected even on the GBP, as we have some secondary and some primary macro data, but nothing really should affect the market in a huge way, as the chart is loading right now. So we are waiting for it to show us how we are looking, but we more or less were able to close at some higher prices. Yeah, like I said before, it's going sideways price action. I was talking about this last week, that I'm expecting more or less a sideways price action, not really big moves. You know, we are hovering near also the highest prices since the beginning of this year. So there is also still some space to get the losses from Brexit. But I believe it's going to take some time. So short term, I would say the price action, sideways price action, is going to continue, and we will see how the US dollar is going to look like. You know, more or less, the further gains are not really likely, but also some huge declines are also not expected here. Oil WTI is looking fairly positive. We were kind of battling with the thought of canceling those sanctions on Iran, and probably more production to the market. But the market is working with it quite well as the negotiation continue. And again, here, like in other market, obviously the demand is going up. The flights are coming back. Everything is looking very good from the economic perspective, and also from the opening, from the lockdowns, which are getting less and less strict, and more and more European economies that are coming off the third wave are coming back to normal. So those are the things that might push the price a little bit higher. But again, the fundament can change rapidly, as the OPEC has its meeting this week, and should be very interesting for the market how and if any change will be made, and how the market will react to that. If we look at the commodities as well, you can see 1900 level is still holding on. The market is going above it. Gold is still getting some gains, obviously held by weaker US dollar, and more even more by the yields, which remain quite low. So the price can with some of remaining the dynamic going a little bit higher, but I would expect correction very soon. Maybe this week or maybe next week, I can expect some bigger correction here. Maybe half of this movement. We'll see how further we can go, but I wouldn't expect any huge gains here. It's not the market that should make these gains. You know, even in the middle of those things that are going on, obviously the inflation is rising, but other things like the performance of risk assets is going well, and they're remaining close to the record highs. I would not expect any huge gains here, because like I said, obviously it makes no sense to me for the gold to trade above $2,000. Yeah, like I said, makes no sense to me. Cryptocurrencies, nothing really crazy changed over the weekend and even over the month, over the week, as we are still remaining very close to the levels that we created with the slump here. Like I said before, the market can go sideways for the next few weeks. We'll see. We have some technical analysis here, symmetric triangle. This can be broken and help the market to get some sentiment back. But I don't know. It can go either way. It really can. There's no. There's no nothing fundamentally that you can probably put the overall thought that the market is going to $100,000. You know, it can even go lower to 20,000. You know, it can really go either way, and no one really knows at this point where this might go. And fundamentally, you cannot even say where this could possibly go. So that will be it from the market perspective. Like I said before, banking holiday on in US, so not really some interesting data. Again, this week, nothing really fundamentally interesting. Secondary data, nothing that should change the market rapidly. We have some speech for Bali, Bank of England, ISM manufacturing PMIs. Those numbers can lead to some intraday volatility, or nothing really crazy. Christine Lagarde's speech, nothing's happening for at her speeches for the last year. Retail sales, some market PMIs, obviously the beginning of the month, so we can expect some numbers like that. And most interesting session will be on Friday, as we expect NFPs. Other job data from US as well as from Canada, and Jerome Powell is going to have speech. So Friday should be IBPMIs from Canada. Friday should be the most interesting session from this week, even like the last week. But the inflation data really didn't deliver any great volatility, as you could have seen. So let's hope that those numbers from Friday will look much better. So this will be it for today's video. If you guys have any questions, leave it down in the comment section below the video, and I will see you next week.